From translation, NIV New International Version. This 95th day of the year. Today we are reading passages 2 Samuel 1-3. 2 Samuel chapter 1, verses 1-27. After the death of Saul, David returned from defeating the Amalekites and stayed in Ziklag 2 days. On the third day a man arrived from Saul's camp with his clothes torn and dust on his head. When he came to David, he fell to the ground to pay him homage. David asked him, "Where have you come from?" He answered, "I have escaped from the Israelite camp." David asked him, "What happened in the camp?" "The men fled from the battle," he replied. "Many of the troops fell and died, and Saul and his son Jonathan are dead also." David asked the young man who brought him the report, "How do you know that Saul and his son Jonathan are dead?" "I happened to be on Mount Gilboa," the young man said, "and there was Saul, leaning on his spear, with the chariots and their horsemen in hot pursuit. When he turned around and saw me, he called out to me, and I answered, 'What can I do for you?' He asked me, 'Who are you?' 'An Amalekite,' I answered. Then he said to me, 'Stand over me and kill me.' I am in agony, so I stood over him and killed him, because I knew that after he had fallen he could not survive. And I took the crown that was on his head and the band on his arm, and have brought them here to my lord." Then David took hold of his clothes and tore them, and all the men with him did the same. They mourned and wept and fasted till evening for Saul and his son Jonathan, and for the army of the Lord, and for the nation of Israel, because they had fallen by the sword. David said to the young man who brought him the report, "Where are you from?" "I am the son of an alien and a Amalekite," he answered. David asked him, "Were you not afraid to lift your hand to destroy the Lord's anointed?" Then David called one of his men and said, "Go, strike him down." So he struck him down, and he died. For David had said to him, "Your blood be on your own head. Your own mouth testified against you when you said, 'I killed the Lord's anointed.'" David took up this lament concerning Saul and his son Jonathan, and ordered that the men of Judah be taught this lament of the bow. It is written in the book of Jasher. "Your glory, O Israel, lies slain on your heights. How the mighty have fallen. Tell it not in Gath, proclaim it not in the streets of Ashkelon, lest the daughters of the Philistines be glad, lest the daughters of the uncircumcised rejoice. O mountains of Gilboa, may you have neither dew nor rain, nor fields that yield offerings of grain. For there the shield of the mighty was defiled, the shield of Saul, no longer rubbed with oil. From the blood of the slain, from the flesh of the mighty, the bow of Jonathan did not turn back, the sword of Saul did not return empty. Saul and Jonathan, lovely and pleasant in their lives, and in their death they were not parted. They were swifter than eagles, they were stronger than lions. O daughters of Israel, weep for Saul, who clothed you in scarlet and finery, who adorned your garments with ornaments of gold. How the mighty have fallen in battle. Jonathan lies slain on your heights. I grieve for you, Jonathan my brother, you were very dear to me. Your love for me was wonderful, more wonderful than that of women. How the mighty have fallen, the weapons of war have perished." 2 Samuel chapter 2, verses 1-32. In the course of time, David inquired of the Lord, "Shall I go up to one of the towns of Judah?" He asked. The Lord said, "Go up." David asked, "Where shall I go?" "To Hebron," the Lord answered. So David went up there with his 2 wives, Ahinoam of Jezreel and Abigail, the wife of Nabal of Carmel. David also took the men who were with him, each with his family, and they settled in the towns near Hebron. Then the men of Judah came to Hebron, and there they anointed David king over the house of Judah. When David was told that it was the men of Jabesh-Gilead who had buried Saul, he sent messengers to the men of Jabesh-Gilead and said to them, "The Lord bless you for showing this kindness to Saul your lord when you buried him. May the Lord now show kindness and faithfulness to you, and I will do you good because you have done this thing. Now be strong and courageous, for Saul your lord is dead, and the house of Judah has anointed me king over them." Meanwhile, Abner son of Ner, the commander of Saul's army, had taken Ishbosheth son of Saul and brought him over to Mahanaim. He made him king over Gilead, Ashuri and Jezreel, and also over Ephraim, Benjamin, and all Israel. Ishbosheth son of Saul was 40 years old when he became king over Israel, and he reigned 2 years. The house of Judah, however, followed David. The length of time David was king in Hebron over Judah was 7 years and 6 months. Abner son of Ner, together with the men of Ishbosheth son of Saul, left Mahanaim and went to Gibon. Joab son of Zeruiah and David's men went out and met near the pool of Gibon at the time of day, when people are usually most tired. One group sat on one side of the pool and the other group on the other side. Abner said to Joab, "Let the young men get up and face each other in combat." Joab said, "Let them get up." So they got up and fought each other. 12 men from the tribe of Benjamin under Saul's son Ishbosheth, and 12 from David's men. Each man grabbed his opponent by the head and thrust his sword into his opponent's side, and they fell down together. That is why that place in Gibon has been called Helkath Hazurim. The battle that day was very fierce, and Abner and the men of Israel were defeated by David's men. The 3 sons of Zeruiah were there: Joab, Abishai, and Asahel. Abishai was the brother of Joab. Asahel was as fast on his feet as a wild gazelle. Asahel chased Abner, and as he ran, Abner turned and said, "Is that you, Asahel?" "It is," he answered. Abner said, "Well, turn aside to your right, and go into one of the fields, and hide there among the barley." Asahel kept on pursuing Abner, and did not turn to the right or left from following Abner. Abner said again to Asahel, "Stop chasing me. Why should I strike you down? How could I show my face to your brother Joab?" But Asahel refused to turn away, so Abner struck him in the stomach with the butt end of his spear, and the spear came out his back. He fell there and died on the spot. And every man who came to the place where Asahel had fallen and died stood still. But Joab and Abishai pursued Abner, and as the sun was setting, they reached the hill of Ammah, near Jair, on the way to the wilderness of Gibeon. The Benjamites rallied to Abner, and they took their stand at the top of a hill. Abner called out to Joab, "Must the sword devour forever? Don't you realize that this will end in bitterness? How long before you order your men to stop pursuing their brothers?" Joab answered, "As surely as God lives, if you had not spoken, the men would have continued pursuing their brothers until morning." So Joab blew the trumpet, and all the troops came to a halt. They no longer pursued Israel, nor did they fight any more. All that day Abner and his men marched through the Arabah and crossed the Jordan, continuing their march through the whole of Bithron. Abner and his men marched all night and crossed the Jordan, arriving in Mahanaim at daybreak. Meanwhile, Joab returned from pursuing Abner and gathered all his men together. 19 of David's men and Asahel were missing. But David's men had killed 360 of Abner's men. They took Asahel and buried him in his father's tomb at Bethlehem. Joab and his men marched all night and arrived at Hebron at daybreak. 2 Samuel chapter 3, verses 1 to 32. In the course of time, David became stronger and stronger, while the house of Judah grew stronger in its attachment to him. And here is the account of David's sons who were born to him in Hebron. The eldest was Amnon, by Ahinoam of Jezreel. The second was Chilib, by Abigail the widow of Nabal of Carmel. The third was Absalom the son of Maacah daughter of Talmai king of Geshur. The fourth was Adonijah the son of Haggith. The fifth was Shephatiah the son of Abital. And the sixth was Ithream, by David's wife Eglah. These were the sons born to David in Hebron. During the war between the house of Saul and the house of David, Abner had been strengthening his own position in Saul's kingdom. Now Saul had a concubine named Rizpah daughter of Aiah. And Ishbosheth said to Abner, "Why did you sleep with my father's concubine?" Abner was very angry because of what Ishbosheth said. "Am I a dog's head, Judah's dog at that?" he demanded. "I have shown kindness to the house of your father Saul by handing over his kingdom to David. Why have you lied to me and handed over my wife to this man from Judah? As surely as God lives, you deserve to die if you don't hand her over." And Abner did just that. Ishbosheth could not answer Abner a single word because he was afraid of him. Then Abner sent messengers on his behalf to say to David, "Whose land is it? Make a treaty with me, and I will help all Israel be loyal to you." "Good," said David. "I will make a treaty with you, but I demand one thing of you. Do not come into my presence unless you bring Michal, Saul's daughter, when you come to see me." Then David sent messengers to Ishbosheth son of Saul, demanding, "Give me my wife Michal, for I paid the bride price for 100 foreskins of Philistines." So Ishbosheth sent and took her from her husband Paltiel son of Laish. But when her husband Paltiel followed her to Bahurim, weeping behind her all the way, Abner said to him, "Go back," and he went back. Then Abner went to Hebron and said to David, "Let me bring my lord the king's wife Michal back to him. I will also bring Israel over to my lord the king, in order to make a covenant with you, and to have all Israel serve you." So Michal daughter of Saul came to David, and when she saw him she despised him, for he was dancing, and she said, "How the king of Israel has distinguished himself today, disrobing in the sight of the maids of his servants as any vulgar fellow would." Abner conferred with the elders of Israel and said, "For some time you have wanted to bring the whole nation of Israel back to its king. Now do it, for the Lord has promised David, saying, 'By my servant David I will save my people Israel from the hand of the Philistines and from the hand of all their enemies.'" Abner also said to Benjamin, "In the past Saul was your king, but now the king of Judah is David. He has long been my king, and now he will be your king as well." Abner went to David at Hebron, and 20 of the men with him. David made a feast for Abner and the men who were with him. Then Abner said to David, "Let me go at once and assemble all Israel for my lord the king, so that they may make a covenant with you, and that you may rule over all your desire." So David sent Abner away, and he went in peace. Just then David's men and Joab came from a raid and brought a great deal of plunder with them. But Abner was not with David in Hebron, because David had sent him away, and he had gone in peace. When Joab and all the troops with him arrived, he was told that Abner son of Ner had come to the king and had gone away in peace. As soon as Joab left David, he sent messengers after Abner, and they brought him back from the cistern of Sirah. But David did not know it. When Abner returned to Hebron, Joab took him aside to the middle of the gateway, as if to speak with him privately. Then he struck him in the stomach so that he died, for the blood of Asahel his brother. Joab and his brother Abishai killed Abner because he had killed their brother Asahel at Gibeon in the battle. Afterward David heard about it and said, I and my kingdom are forever innocent before the Lord of the blood of Abner son of Ner. May his blood fall on the head of Joab, and on the whole house of his father. May Joab never lack a man with diarrhea, or a man with a running discharge in his house, or a man who leans on a staff, or who falls by the sword, or who lacks bread. David said to Joab and all the people with him, Tear your clothes and put on sackcloth and walk in mourning for Abner. And the king himself walked behind the bier. The people buried Abner in Hebron. The king wept aloud at Abner's tomb, and all the people wept. The whole army mourned for Abner 3 days, and so it was that on the 3rd day David said, Now is the time for Abner to be buried. So David had him buried in the city of Hebron. The king then said to his men, Do you not know that a great and honored man has died today in Israel? Today I am weak, though anointed king. These sons of Zeruiah are too much for me. May the Lord repay the evildoer for his wickedness,